America, my name is Osei-Frimpong. I come to you live every Monday and Thursday. A little bit of a late show tonight for reasons, but I wanted to say a little bit about Will Smith and Jada because I think that the biggest problem for Will Smith right now is that now his kids are screwed. He's got to watch his kids be kind of screw ups because Jada's the mother and Jada's crazy, so the kids are going to be crazy because parents have a privileged access to their kids' cognitive development, which means if Jada's telling you crazy things about life, it'll sink in a way that Will might not be able to erect a prophylactic against. And, I first started thinking about these issues back when Tiger Woods got caught, I don't know, about 10 years ago, sleeping with that parade of mid level women. And then his ex wife beat him up for it. And I was just thinking, Tiger's a little bit older than I am, and we both have about the same amount of kids. I think he's got 3 kids, and I have 3 kids. And he's a little bit older. We have the same amount of kids. But I didn't want his life because I couldn't imagine raising my kids part-time or having to deal with ex and all that baby mama drama. And so I was like, he has $1 billion, but he's going to have to forsake his 3 kids or like somehow kind of his kids are screwed. So I wouldn't want his life. But if Charlie Woods looks like he turned out okay, so Tiger Woods found a way around that. So I guess having a lot of money helps. Or maybe the other parent was a weak parent and Tiger got to control what's going on there. But I feel like Will Smith, for all of his money, I do not want to be Will Smith. Not because of what Jada's doing to him, not because of the embarrassment of all the things that she can say, but because I would not want to share kids with Jada Pinkett. That would be a nightmare. Your kids are going to end up screwed up because she's going to fill them full of all sorts of nonsense, and there's really nothing you can do to stop her. And I don't really. You're just in a bad way. You're just in a bad way if you're sharing kids with Jada Pinkett Smith. And that is, I don't know how much money you would have to give me to try to co-parent with Jada Pinkett Smith. I just don't know. There is just no way she's not going to screw up those kids. It's impossible for me to believe. So pretty much you're paying me to screw up my kids. I am sacrificing my kids for money. If you're going to pay me, it could be $50 million. $50 million, I got to co-parent with Jada Pinkett Smith with my 3 kids. There's no way. There's just no way those kids end up right. And there's no way, you're not sitting by watching a very slow train wreck and calling that your family. I mean, what else? What's the money for? If you're not going to have awesome kids, or if you're not going to at least be able to try to make them awesome in a very particular way. I don't really know what else. I don't need the private jet. I need dope kids. But you're pretty much selling out the prospect of dope kids for the private jet. So, question for the comments, for the people in the audience: how much money would it take for you to sign over your kids to Jada Pinkett Smith for half of their cognitive development? And parents have privileged access with respect to this. My Thursday show might be on this, although it's Thanksgiving, I might take Thursday off. But how much money would it take for you to have Jada Pinkett Smith raise your kids? I don't want her babysitting my kids. But as a mother, as a parent, that's even special access because it's unopposed. She will tell the kids what the world is and then have the money to make it appear that way. Meanwhile, what she's telling the kids is going to end up screwing them up, and you're not going to be able to undermine that because you have co-equal authority, and she's cooler, right? So it's one thing if a stranger tells nonsense to your kids, because if you're a good parent, your kids know maybe they shouldn't trust strangers for reasons. But if another parent tells your kid, it's a non-oppositional relationship where they have immediate access. They're mainlining in nonsense into your kids. So I don't know how much money it would take for me to allow Jada Pinkett Smith to be the mother of my children. Like, and be okay with that. And be okay with it. So I don't like Will Smith has to look out. And I think Will actually cares about his kids. I remember reading some article about how he felt bad about that movie. Maybe it was After Earth. He had with a kid. He had with his son in it. And it turns out it was such a bomb that his son had to read bad reviews. I never saw it. But and I think Will has been trying to put at least his son on to like follow in his footsteps. But that's all gone now. That's all gone. That kid is for the streets. And because you have to deal with the nonsense that is going to come out of Jada's mouth. And that's going to go straight into his head, so you're always going to have to play defense against that. There's no amount of money that's going to make that kid like, you're going to have to look over and think my son and my daughter are like weirdos because I picked the wrong baby mama. I fell in love with the wrong girl. And, you can tell, maybe Will Smith is gay and this is all a bit, yeah, whatever. I just think that I don't want his life. I don't want to look over and think I can't keep my kids from being distorted because their mother is going to undermine like reality in their mind in all sorts of ways, in ways I can't inoculate them against. Like you can't inoculate your kids against a bad other parent, especially when the bad other parent is also rich and cool, right? So you're just screwed as a father. And I don't know if you could pay me enough to take that position. So yeah, tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments or tell me in the chat. How much money would it take for you to trade places with Will Smith knowing that you're going to have to look over and see the two kids just kind of be like, profoundly unserious. And not just weird, I'm weird, but like profoundly unserious kind of people in ways that you can't mitigate because they're getting it from their mother. They're getting all the stories about the world from their mother. And it's too late. In some ways it's too late. In other ways, you just never really had a chance. So I don't want that life. Like $50 million, but I can't really stand my own kids, or I can't take my own kids seriously. I don't know if I'd like that. I think I'd rather be able to look up to my kids and respect my kids and just be the kind of guy who needs to ask you for $5, $15, or $50 a month to keep doing this show twice a week. Because I'm giving you a quality of wisdom that you're not going to get anywhere else. L.A. born DeClove. The peace of mind and well-adjusted kids is priceless. Yeah, I think the peace of mind of having well-adjusted kids is priceless. And the anxiety that goes into knowing that your kids are just going to be fed BS by the other parent would screw up my whole life. Having I just don't know what it's all worth if you screw up your kids. I honestly don't know. But I don't have a lot of nice things. I just have dope kids. So maybe it's me, Cap. But I put a lot into my kids. My kids are awesome. And that fulfills me in a way that I don't think anything else could. Especially as I get older and I don't like things as much. I just need enough. I pretty much need enough to be a dope parent. That's all I do. By the way, once again, if you give money to me, the money just goes right to the little Osei-Frimpongs for another generation. And I appreciate that because, soccer camps cost money and violin and cello lessons and piano lessons, which they all take. That costs money. And I made decisions in my life that I spend more time with my kids, and my kids are dope for it. Yeah, anyway, so go ahead and keep going, give into www.funkyacademic.com. I'll keep doing these shows, and everyone's happy. But I do want you to think about it. Maybe talk about this at your Thanksgiving dinner. How much money would it take for you to trade places with Will Smith, knowing that your two kids have to listen to the nonsense of Jada Pinkett as their mother? And it's going to inform them and, honestly, make them people you don't want to be around. How much money would it take for you to raise kids, for you to have kids that you don't particularly like, respect, and know aren't going to grow up into serious people? I just don't know if you could pay me that kind of money. Like, what else is life for? What am I going to spend the money on? Because right now, all I pretty much do is spend my money and time on my kids. Like, um, so, and I like it that way. Like, I like talking to my dope kids. So you say someone said Will and Jada are disconnected from reality, and so are the children. Well, I think Jada and the children are. Will, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if how disconnected from reality Will is in the rich guy way. He might, because there are some actors who raise dope kids. I think, what is it, Courtney Vance and Angela Bassett. I think they take the parenting seriously, or at least they take the marriage. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how ridiculous Will would have been with a regular wife. I don't know if it might be a Whitney Houston, Bobby Brown thing, where we think Jada brings her crazy and Will is straight, but it turns out that Will is crazy. In the Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston thing, everyone assumed Bobby Brown was a bad influence, but it turned out that Whitney was the one he had to watch, and Bobby actually saved her from some of her worst inclinations. But I mean, I assume that Will is a more regular guy and wanted to like just be a good father, and that gets completely precluded and obviated, and there's just no way that the kids don't end up weird with Jada as their mom and Will as their dad, and Will just has to kind of watch it like a slow train wreck. Maybe save up money for the rehab. Although they have money, money's not going to be a problem. So I guess that's what you spend your money for. You spend your money just waiting for the you spend the money waiting for their for the rehab, the inevitable rehab, or the various surgeries that are in the offing. So I don't know. I don't. Yeah, you're saying I'm being too hard on Jada. The people who don't like it. Yeah, I don't like Jada. It's okay. I'm allowed to not like Jada Pinkett Smith. I don't. There's something about, I think, do not like her. If my son brought home a woman who gave off that Jada Pinkett energy, I'd say pass. I don't. I don't. I don't like Jada. Yeah, and I don't think the son is okay, and I don't think the daughter is okay. I maybe it's an aesthetic thing, but I don't get particularly with it vibes from them, and that's just my vibe. And I just know if I were Will Smith, I would just be sad that there's pretty much nothing I could do to keep my son from not being, and my daughter from not just being unfortunate. All right. So thank you for your time. I will see you at another time. If you appreciate what I'm doing, go ahead and go to www.funkyacademic.com. Kick in $5, $15, or $50 a month, and I'll keep doing it. And I think you should, because you're not getting this quality of wisdom and insight into the special access that parents have to kids that could form their world. And they give you, like, everybody else they meet has an oppositional relationship to them, to their like a formed self. But the parents get the initial, the initial imprint. And you're just knowing that Jada gets that initial and gets to sustain that initial vision of the world is just not a particularly soothing experience or like aspiration for me as a parent, because I'm always going to be playing defense against, my partner's nonsense, Jada's nonsense. So, yeah, I don't... it's not my kids. My kids are dope. I don't have their money. I was just thinking about how much money would it take? How much money would it take for me? And you can go ahead and give a dollar figure in the chat and in the comments. How much money would it take for you to suffer having Jada Pinkett as your other parent raising these kids, knowing that every time you leave the room, she's going to fill them full of nonsense? And for me, that would take a lot of money. That would take an incredible, because I don't know what else to spend money on except my kids. Like that's why you have money, especially over a certain amount of money. But to know that no matter what you do is all for naught because Jada's going to fill him full of nonsense. She's probably giving him the drug. Like it's just unfortunate. Anyway, thank you for your time. I will see you at another time. Peace.